Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review is brought to you in part by Riders Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. This review covers the 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner. It's a 125 scale kit from AMT, skill level 2, number 31795. Now, the 68 Plymouth Roadrunner was a popular muscle car designed as a no-frills, affordable performance vehicle aimed at the youth buyers who wanted a powerful car without the extra features. And it became an icon of the era and helped popularize the budget muscle car concept. Well-preserved samples are getting pricey in today's market, and you can expect to spend between $25,000 and $75,000, depending on condition and engine options. Now, this 68 Roadrunner kit has been issued many times since the beginning in 1990, and it was also converted to a 69 GTX kit. But essentially, it's the same as the latest 2023 release of the 68 Roadrunner, and this 2002 issue contains 113 parts molded in gray, chrome, clear, and it may be built one of two ways, either stock or as a street machine version, with cross-ram dual quad setup, and even aftermarket parts would enhance it. Now, when you're done, the kit measures 8 inches long, 2 1/4 inches high, and 3 inches wide. Here are the parts contained in the kits. As you can see, a clear windows sprue, some nice tires, and 2 sets of chrome wheels on a nice tree there. The parts are pretty clean for the era. They did a pretty good job of molding these. And please heed the manufacturer's safety and use guidelines when you're using any of the products that you see or hear used in the review. Here are the decals for the kit. As you can see, those side stripes are pretty bold. We won't be using those, but of course the Warner Brothers Roadrunner character is a must. There's other decals there for plates, etc. But we're going to switch it up and use some aftermarket stuff. In this model, we'll be using some decals and images from Best Model Car Parts. They make some excellent stuff, including these 1968 license plates samples, and most importantly, the dashboard and gauge package here that we'll be using in the review. Here you see the parts for a pretty well designed engine. You can even see the cylinder heads in ports there, portholes in the heads, and this was one of the most powerful engines on the road back in the day. Here in Chrysler Hemi Orange, and you can see, of course, steel on some of the other pieces. When test fitting the engine, I found a hood clearance problem when using the air cleaner, so I had to remove the base. I had to remove it and take it out. I couldn't use it to get the necessary height for hood clearance. Now, the hood, by the way, is grooved on the other side, and you can cut that hood opening out for the high-rise setup if you want to use that. And there's also hood hinges that could be used, but they won't close. They're simply for displaying your model with the hood open. There's no real issues with construction of the motor, and you can see it here highlighted in some of the other colors, a little semi-gloss black on some of those pieces you see, along with some chrome pieces, and of course the steel exhaust and transmission. Now we'll assemble the front seat. That's a bench seat, and comes in 2 pieces. You can glue those together. And the upholstery in these cars generally was kind of a semi-gloss or almost a high-gloss vinyl. Here you see the dashboard. It's the same coloration, and also this features a little bit of highlighting on some of the knobs, and the best model car parts dashboard insert. You can read all the numbers perfectly. It's an excellent addition, and you just cut those out. They're not really decals. You just cut them out and glue them into place with some clear glue or white glue. And so here are the assembled components for the interior. You see that the floor, of course, is flat black, and then the vinyl colored seats. Also on the sides panels there, nicely able to detail those because they're separate, and a chrome pen will go a long way to highlighting the features there. And this appears to be an adaptation from the GTX kit, as it's pretty much the same thing except for the GTX had buckets. But here's our 68 Roadrunner interior. Here are the components of the front portion and the regular chassis plate there, which was painted flat black and has a silver colored fuel tank. Now you'll notice that the firewall on the outside and the inner fenders are painted body color. And also there's a wiper motor and a brake booster there, along with the front subframe. And the assembly of these, it goes together pretty straightforward. You can highlight some of the wiring and hosing, and the washer bottle there is white with the black cap. Next, we assembled and painted the radiator support and radiator, etc. It's also the battery and the hoses there, but don't forget to paint the beep beep horn purple. Now we can add those components to the front end after you go ahead and place the engine into position on its mounts, and also note that the front radiator support there is in place, and I suggest that you glue the upper radiator hose to the engine with some slow setting glue, and then place it into position when you add the front bracket and radiator into place. Now we'll get out the front suspension pieces. These are pretty easy to install, and you'll see that the front wheels are posable. They are trapped between the upper and lower control arms, and then you can just swivel them. So those go into position as you see here. And if you need some more clarification, the instructions are, of course, at the rear of the review for inspection up close of assembly and sequence. Now we turn our attention to the rear suspension. You see the gloss parts for the drive line and the rear end differential, etc., and cover. Also, the exhausts are painted steel with aluminum mufflers, and the springs are a steel color too. And they go into position just as traditional, 2 points of the springs on each side of the wheel well there, as you see it from this direction, and they go together very nicely. Now the kit's tires in this issue came with scripted sidewall tires, but I opted to go with some parts bin pieces from another Roadrunner kit, and it had issued red lines, which were kind of a stock issue and part for the actual Roadrunner. So I went with those, and they fit exactly the same. So we'll be using the ones on the left. I opted for these wheels, and I did a little detailing with some blackening on the plate there, and I also highlighted the lug nuts there with chrome pen. So get those ready, and they simply sandwich the tires against the inners, and you can install those. And here we have our rolling chassis. And now we'll work on the body parts. You can see a brace here that needs to be removed. That's the one with the red lines on it. Also, the parting line is a little bit pronounced there at the bottom of the sail panel, and you'll need to clean that up a bit. Of course, that runs across the top of the fenders, over the drip rail, and then down the outside edges in front and back as well. Once the body has been painted, in this case I used One Shot brand orange 124L, and you can then, after that dries, detail the trim with some paint or a chrome pen or even some foil as you're choosing. And it's ready to install the windows, which go in pretty nicely. They have nice edges, and use some white or clear glue to put those in place. Use a little black wash for the grill to pick out those recessed areas. That's 50-50 mix of black paint and thinner, flat black paint. Also, of course, the turn signals are painted with a little amber orange. Scrape the chrome off of your glue contact points, and go ahead and paint from the chassis or body as well to glue the front bumper and grill into position. You also see we've added the Best Model Car Parts license plate tag here for 1968. And now at the back end, again, scrape any of the paint or glue or chrome where you want to glue the parts together, and add the bumper and the tail lights and the exhaust tips on the back end. And here you see some highlighting on the script work there and the keyhole. Now the back end is complete, and it's looking very authentic to the one-to-one car. And finally, some detailing to the hood. Of course, that was finished in body paint at the same time as the body, but then now we've added and taped it off and added the flat black section there, which was kind of customary for that era, along with some of the script work in highlighted chrome. And she's finished. That's your construction section of the model. All that's left is to add the decals of your choice, and like I said, we didn't use many. The Roadrunners are there, and some of the script work is there, highlighted, but we didn't use the strips, side stripes, or any of that. And here are the pieces that were left over, and you can put those in your parts stash for a future build. Well, there you have it. Your model is finished, and as you can see here, just like the real ones were on the road back in the day, it's a real head turner. You put a little bit of this competition style orange color on a Roadrunner, and you know that whoever owns that one means business. And if you want something that's really kind of a display and representation of the muscle car era, these late 60s Roadrunners are just the ticket. As you can see, it's a beauty, and if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf. Well, we hope you like this step-by-step premium model kit review, and so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking on the icon in the lower right hand of any of our reviews, and you can find us on Facebook or our website, rightonreplicas.com. Thanks. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations, where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint.